I also have rats, mice, and dormice that breed, but sugar gliders are my passion. They have only been bred and available as pets in the United States since about the 90s, which means that they are still very close to their wild relatives. They can make excellent pets, but they do require work to bond and socialize and make sure that they are a happy pet instead of one that you have difficulty interacting with. Their lifespan is usually around 10 to 12 years. Some of those much longer into their teens. They are relatively healthy animals as long as you have them on a good, solid diet. And one of the biggest medical problems they're prone to are dental problems. They are a sapsucker in nature, but that does not mean that they need a sugar or honey source or anything like that. That's kind of an older common misconception. So we've started in the last several years moving towards diets that have less sugar. They need a protein base, so something like a chicken, egg, yogurt base, and they do like fruits and vegetables also. They're one of those giving a variety of different foods is usually the best way to get the most nutrition to them. One of the trickiest parts about owning sugar gliders is that there are not a whole lot of products that you can buy just online or in the pet store for them. But they're still such a new pet, and they do have kind of specific needs. There is one commercially available diet that I do recommend. It's called the BRM kibble. Even with a kibble diet, they still need fresh fruits and vegetables every night. You want to make sure that you feed a good variety. Greens like kale, things with a lot of calcium are good. They are prone to metabolic bone disease because they're nocturnal, so they do need calcium source in their diet. So if you feed them a complete diet that's ready-made for sugar gliders, you make sure you're getting enough, but it's always good to feed things like feeder insects that are gut-loaded with calcium are really good for them. They are insectivores in the wild, so they will eat pretty much any and all of your feeder insects that you can get. In the wild, they do hunt and eat birds and small mammals, so they are a predator, which is kind of a common misconception. They're not like a rodent; they have more of a predator attitude. So, when you're looking for your first sugar gliders, I would recommend to go to a breeder who specializes in raising them for good temperament and spends a lot of time socializing and handling the joeys. And that gives you a much better chance of being able to bond and interact with your pets from the beginning. If they're not regularly handled, they do kind of revert back to a more wild animal. And that means that they do have very sharp teeth and nails, and they will use them. That's my biggest caution towards everyone with sugar gliders, is make sure that you go to a good breeder, spend time talking to them, make sure you know how they raise them and handle them. And that'll set you up for success rather than having an animal that you can't touch. But that's no fun. They do bond very well to their owners. They are very intelligent. I tell a lot of people they're similar to rats, intelligence and interaction-wise, but they're more active. They're nocturnal. So if you want to be cuddling and playing with them, you want to put them kind of in a pouch or carry them around with you during the day when they're sleepy. At night, they are really active and they love to jump around and play. So if you are wanting that cuddle time with them, I always tell people don't try it at night because they'll be wanting to glide around. Yep. They do like a very large enclosure, and the bigger the better. More space is always better. Most common bird cages are good for them. You can get sugar glider specific cages, but they're generally a bird cage. They like height because they are arboreal. So they like things to climb on, jump on, they will glide around. A good wheel is important for them. With the wheels, you want to make sure that the wheel does not have a center bar in it, because they have very long tails that are semi-prehensile and they're very, very delicate. So they can injure and break their tails very easily. I have a couple that have had tail injuries and many hospital visits. So you'd like a big open wheel that they can run freely and exercise in. As far as accessories for them, if you like the more natural route, they do like climbing on natural branches or perches and things that you can put in their cage. They'll jump off of those and climb around. They're not big chewers. They will chew on stuff, but they're not like a rodent, like a rat, where they gnaw something on. Their teeth do not grow continuously. So they do not need their teeth trimmed. They do not need something to wear them down. Once their teeth have erupted fully, that's where they are. So if you ever go to a dentist or a veterinarian that says, "Do you want me to trim their teeth?" No. A lot of people like to use like soft fleece pouches, things like that. You want to make sure that anything you put in the cage with them doesn't have parts or pieces or areas of loose thread, because they have very delicate fingers. Their hands are very human-like, and they have really dexterous fingers, which means that they can get them tangled in things and cause injuries very easily. So like the Sherpa type fuzzy fleas, those are dangerous for them because they can get kind of snagged up and hurt their fingers. But the regular, like just flat, anti-pill, soft fleece is perfect for them. Bonding, they are very scent driven. We tell people that carrying them around in a bonding pouch, or if you carry them around in their pocket, something like that, is a great way to get them used to you, especially if they're new to you. I like to take little pieces of fleece, and you can wear them inside, tuck them inside your clothes, or some people put them in their pillowcase at night to put your scent on it, and then you can put them in the pouch, the sleeping pouch or the bonding pouch with the gliders to get them used to you. I have a line of scarves and bags and all sorts of things that you can carry them around with you. If you can have something that holds them close to your chest so they can feel your heartbeat and they can hear your voice resonating in your chest when you speak, that's a really great way to get them used to you and the environment and make them feel safe and comfortable. Once they feel comfortable and safe around you, they're much calmer and less stressed out, and then that's a happy, fun pet to have. They are they're really entertaining, and they will bond very closely to you. So if you have them that you've worked with for a little bit, they will tend to stay with you. A lot of them will be very happy, curled up in a hoodie pocket or the back of your shirt. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
How much are they?
It completely varies. They will vary quite a bit depending on color and genetics and which breeder you choose. I have them usually priced from around 200 a piece to upwards of in the thousands, just depending on the genetics. They are colony animals. They do need to be kept with another glider. You have to have them at least minimum pairs, because this is an animal that will become stressed to the point, you guys can come on. If they're alone, they will stress to the point where they can do harm to themselves. A lot of that looks like they'll overgroom, they'll pull patches of hair out. We've had reports of them not eating, really declining in health when you keep them alone. Males are very easily neutered. Most vets around, you can find an exotic vet to do a neuter on them. It's very safe. Most reputable breeders that you buy from will neuter any males before you get them, so that you're already done with that. Males, unrelated males together that are not neutered, are going to fight. Even if they are brothers, as they mature, it's very likely that you will have fighting happen. So we always recommend to neuter early and get out of the way. Females do well in colonies together, obviously males and females. They are difficult sometimes to introduce to one another. They're an animal that they're not quite like rats where you can take two big ones and just a little bit of time to come together and they're happy. It does take a bit of scent swapping. You want to get them used to each other's smell when you're adding to your existing colony or putting two that don't know each other together. We recommend doing things like you have them in separate cages to start out with, and then you switch their pouches back and forth, and then they can get used to the scent. And then usually introducing them together in a neutral area, we call the bathtub method is a really good way to do it. Take them into the bathroom where you can close it off, put them in the bathtub so that they can't get traction to keep out or run away. And try your introductions that way. And you will usually know if they kind of sniff each other and they seem okay, then they're probably fine. If they start to react and ball up, they will fall into a fight. That's when you definitely want to break them out and start from the beginning again, just a little bit, because they can injure each other very soon. One of the big downsides to gliders is that when they injure themselves, they are very bad at self-mutilation. So they're a difficult animal to treat injuries, any kind of wounds, because it's hard. We have e-collars and we have e-jackets and everything, but they are so tiny and they're they're like little tiny cats.
Yeah.
So, and they're really bad about if they have an injury, they will chew at it and make it worse. So it can be very difficult to get out. So injury prevention is the goal. That's what we try to do.
Do you have to, when they breed, I don't know, I've heard this from our neighbors and we have it. Are the babies at risk after they're born?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They are an animal that will cannibalize. And they are susceptible, they're very susceptible to stress. And that's whether or not they're breeding. They're kind of an animal that's really sensitive. I like to socialize mine in, my house is busy. I don't have kids, but I have dogs, I have other pets. So they're used to being around other noises, things like that. I try not to raise them in a bubble,
right.
Because
everything will scare them.
Yeah, they shouldn't be stressed just in your household.
Right.
But they are sensitive to environmental changes, things like that. That's why I didn't travel with mine. If you want to be able to travel with yours, it is possible. It's one of those things that you get them used to a travel size cage. Like if you like to RV or like to take them on vacation, I have plenty of people that do it. Get them a setup that you travel with, and just slowly get them used to it, and then they're a lot more comfortable. But yeah, breeding comes with a lot of risks. They can have mating wounds are pretty common where the male attaches to the back and sometimes bites. So he can cause serious injury there. There are marsupial, so they have a pouch. So when they're born, they are about 16 days old, and they're the size of about a grain of rice. So when you usually don't get to see a birth because it's very quick and tiny. But mom will help them get into her pouch where they attach, and then they grow the rest of the way in their pouch. So when we say we don't usually give gliders a birth date, we give them an out of pouch date. So that's what that means. When they detach fully from the nipple in the pouch, that's when we call them out of pouch. And mom will continue to put them back in the pouch until they can't fit, basically. It's cool because you can see she will pull them out and groom them and then stuff them back in. She ends up looking pretty stuffed by the time. And they mate for life. They form very strong bonds with other colony members, whether it's male or female. So we recommend when you have them in pairs or groups or colonies, you do everything you can to keep them together, because if you separate them, they do go through a breeding process, and that's a serious source of stress for them. Just like we don't want you to have them alone for the same reason, but they do really attach to their mates. When they breed, the male does have a role in raising the joeys, which is really, they have a family bond. So he will take care of them while mom goes out and has her mom night out. And they will ride around on mom and dad's back like they're koalas. They kind of grip on until they're too big for the parents. It's enough. Any more questions? They are really cool pets. I just like to make sure I get my disclaimers out, because you need to know what you're getting into so that you have a great experience with them. Because they are a pet that's going to last over a decade, which you have lots of time to form an amazing bond. I tell people who have had pet rats and really love pet rats, but the heartbreak with them only living a few years is rough. Gliders are very similar personality-wise, where they really like the interaction, and they really, when they get to know you, I open the cages and they come jump, say hi, and they will play with you. A good thing to do, you can get just a big mesh tent and set it up in a place in your house and sit in there and play with them and let them glide, and so they can stay safe. Yeah, they're cool. I don't recommend, someone was making a comment about this earlier, I don't recommend that you take them outside, not even if you have a really strong bond with them. Predators can still get them. We've had stories of like a hawk coming down and snatching it. So, yeah. That's pretty much what I have. You guys, if anyone has more questions or you're interested, I have some cards. You're always welcome to contact me. My breeding program is small right now. I do have joeys available occasionally, and we'll have more in the future. I do recommend, I have several breeders in the area that I recommend also. But I am more than happy to always answer questions, whether or not you're not for me. I just love to share information and help you guys have great experiences with your animals.